Hello and welcome to the first Her Version Impact panel of 2022. We are opening this year with a bang in the female community, speaking about everything motherhood. This will be a great broadcast for you to listen in on if you are an expecting mother, a new mother, if you have 6 little ones running around the house, and everything in between. If you are a dad, we would love your support also. We have women from all walks of life opening up about the smiles, the challenges, the laughter, and the realism of what motherhood is. I am super excited about this impact panel. Let's jump right in. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. This will be an interactive forum, and any comments or questions you post will possibly be selected to go on screen for the ladies to engage with you personally. Come with questions, worries, difficulties, and we will help you navigate through it. If you are watching this live or on the hashtag replay, we would appreciate if you share this to your followers so we can expand our reach. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to introduce our ladies. So we have several women here from all walks of life, and I would like each of you to introduce your name and where you are from, starting with Nicole.
Hello, everyone. I am Nicole Gayatri. I am from Costa Rica.
Hi, guys. I am Maureen Scanlon, and I am from Mesa, Arizona.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Ulster, and I am from sunny South Florida.
Good morning. My name is Erica Hall. I am a mother of 6. I've been doing it for 25 years, and I am in Ohio.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tori Brame, and I am a mother of a 3.5-year-old. He's my only kid, and I am in Charleston, South Carolina.
Is that everybody? Charmin, did you go? Sophia?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sophia. I think I have an echo.
You do have an echo. Where are you from, Sophia?
I'm living here in New York City. I'm a hashtag boy mom.
Yes. Charmin? We can't hear you.
I'm Sherman Johnson, mother of 5, and from Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Yes. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for joining me this early on a Saturday. I do hear a little bit of reverb, so if you have headphones, you might want to put them in because it might be you. Hey, Maureen, we're gonna we're going on to Miss Sophia to take over the floor here. I do want to acknowledge those of you that are watching live. We so appreciate the support and the love. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the post. But I hope that you are enjoying all of this. I know I am. Every single question, I'm just like, I have so much to say. I wish we could go till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and just eat lunch together or something. This has been so great. I so appreciate every one of you being here and sharing all of this juicy information. You're keeping the attendance up. Everyone is loving it. They're here live. For those of you watching on the replay, please hashtag replay so that we know that you are here and that you did watch and you did enjoy. I am handing the mic over to Sophia. Tell us your name, a little bit about you, and your question.
Thank you, Sabrina. Hey, everyone. My name is Sophia Giraldo, and I am your confidence cultivator. I'm so excited to be here. So I'm a boy mom. I have 3 boys, 10, 8, and 6. And what I do, like I said, is I work with women to help them walk in confidence as a lifestyle. I've been in the beauty space for over 15 years. But what a lot of people don't know is that even though I talk about confidence now, that was not always my story. Because in 2012, when I was a new mom, when my oldest baby was 7 months old, I had really confidence. And I had gotten up one morning. It was a silent house. And all you moms know that a silent house, when you have a newborn baby, is just like, what's going on here? Like, what is this? So I decided I'm going to get some work done. So I get up, go into my living room, on the couch, pull up my computer, open up my computer, screen TV video. And the search title was World. In that moment, my world froze, and my stomach, my throat, and my stomach, and I realized that I was about to start a journey that I didn't anticipate having to go on. What wound up happening was I embarked upon a surreal experience of being married to someone who had a sex addiction. And out of that experience and out of me jumping into recovery, I learned things. I learned how to redefine my beauty, and I learned how to start walking in a way that exuded confidence. We talked about boundaries. We talked about doing things differently. And so I had to learn how to do those things. And that's kind of what I help women to do now. So my question for you ladies is, going through that with children, I had to have a lot of hard conversations. I had to have conversations that I didn't anticipate having when I, was younger and dreamt about having children. Talking things about addiction, we're talking abuse because I went through abuse. We're talking divorce. We're talking all the hard things. So my question is, have you had to have hard conversations with your kids, and how did you frame those things for them? We always talk about appropriate way, but what does that really look like when you have to talk about abuse, when you have addiction? What does that look like for you? Have you had to experience that? So that's my question. Let's see who's gonna go first. Erica, why don't you take it away?
That is such a great question. I first and foremost, I, as similar to some of these women, I've gone through a lot, as well as being a very young mom and not having a family. I was excommunicated from my church and my family at the age of 20. By the time I was 23, had a baby of my own, was raising a child that was not my own. So I think on all of our journeys, we've started off at different places, but we've all gone through some things where when it comes time that they're asking questions, mine was, I can't afford to lie, because so much of what I was living had been based on lies being told to me, or I was telling outwardly or showing picture perfect or whatever were lots of lies. And so I always first and foremost said, okay, I cannot lie to my child. I am not going to lie, nothing. But I'm also not going to use harsh language, and I'm going to word it to the point where I'm comfortable saying this. Now let them ask questions, and then just answer their question. I didn't elaborate. I didn't keep on going. I don't know about you guys, but I have a tendency to talk a lot and wax poetic, and I just want to be like, and tell. So I had to be very, very clear on, what did they just ask me, and I'm going to answer their question, and that's it. If you have another question, answer their question. And then as they grew older, the conversations weren't more questions. It was having a real conversation because they were at the age where they could understand. My oldest ones, my first marriage ended because of drug addictions, alcohol addictions, sex addictions, and just destroying our lives. Also the addiction to not working, like that was an addiction. He just did not want to care, right? So as my kids are growing up and they're still seeing him behave in certain ways, we've been able to have honest conversations, and so they can recognize it and separate the behavior from feelings and emotions. And that's really, really helpful. But they're hard. All of them are hard. And admitting to them, this is a hard conversation, or this is a subject I don't know that you're ready to really, really talk about. And when you get to an older age, this one will come back up. I promise you. But right now, you don't need to worry about it. Be a kid, right? And so really determining how and when to talk about certain things, but always having the open door of, we can talk about anything. Because that was my thing. We weren't allowed to talk about anything. I grew up, nobody talked about anything. We don't talk about that around here. We don't talk about it around this table. That is not a subject we talk about. I mean, we've all heard these things. Or it just was blatantly, nobody ever talked about it. Like, how did nobody ever discuss these things, girl? I was like, I don't remember my parents ever talking about any of this stuff, right? And so just having those raw, open conversations where your daughters can feel comfortable talking about their periods at the dining room table. I mean, I was in front of their siblings and and sharing that and going, hey, you guys, we're not going to shame. We're not going to make each other feel bad. This is a good thing to talk about. And then just really staying in that mindset of there's never a wrong question and there's always an answer I can give you. It may not be the answer they want, but there is an answer you can give. So those are some things that I've been working on. I'm still working on them because we're all kind of really still in that mix of things where conversations need to be happening. So I'm working on it every day.
That's really good. Thanks, Erica. That's really good. Having those conversations, just making it normal. Let's see. Go ahead, Maureen.
I as well, was married to a man who had an alcohol addiction and he ended up cheating. And the one thing that I learned as I was raising, my children was, it was kind of a need to know basis. And if I thought it was going to harm their self-worth, then I would hold back from disclosing too much. And of course, it's always about being age appropriate. How you say it and what you're saying is really age appropriate. And now being a grandmother, my grandchildren have had also sort of a rough upbringing. And so I love that, Erica, you say, as long as those lines of communication are open and welcome and they have a safe space. But it's really interesting. There were things that were going on with my children's father as they were growing up that I didn't disclose. And then as they got older, they sort of were putting pieces together, and then I was able to share more with them. But I love that we can be truthful with our children, but we also have to be careful because as they teach you in the parenting classes, when you get divorced, anything that you say about the other parent is 50% of your child. And so, you have your own internal emotional struggle with what's going on in your life, and you have to be careful not to project that onto your children. And it's a real fine line that we have to be really careful that we walk, but still allow them to have that safe space and to ask those questions. But again, I think, it's a need to know. Did my children need to know, the things that their father was going through? He attempted suicide. He was in a behavioral health unit. And those were things they didn't need to know at that time. He came out of it and he was okay. But later, as they were adults and I knew they could handle all that information, then I could disclose a lot more. So I just think it's, there's a fine line. It's hard as mom, Sophia. I mean, you want them to understand why you can't have this relationship with their father, with their parent, but there's this other side where you're like, you don't want to diminish them so much so they don't have a relationship with that parent. You want to give them that opportunity to make that choice when they are older. And my two older daughters do not have a relationship with their father. And for me, it was really important that they made the choice, that it wasn't because I said all of these negative things about their father and just, word vomited all this crap that he had done. So it turned out for me really, really well. My son has a very shallow, superficial relationship with his father, but he also ended up being a really good man by seeing what his father did wrong. And by helping them make those decisions and perspectives on their own, I think is really helpful. But you can give them the need to know basis. This is why we can't be alone with dad, or this is why I can't have you driving with dad. It's for your safety and I love you. But, without putting so much emphasis on what the other person is doing wrong, but more because I care about you and I love you and I want to keep you safe. And that's my job as your mom. So good question. Good question. Thank you.
Oh, that was good. Yeah. It's very important to me, that honesty that we talked about, talking about things in an age appropriate way. And I had some real stuff that, like, we had to transition into a DV shelter. And, when you move, your kids are like, why do we have to leave? So having to say, what, talk about feelings. And sometimes people do things that hurt your heart, and like just having to break it down in a way that they can understand without throwing their father under the bus, like it's important. That was really good. Thanks so much. Anybody else? Okay, Rachel.
The internet went out again. Thank you, Sophia. It's such a great question. And I have two quick examples that I'd like to give, which is, I guess the most important one was when he was about 3. I had to make that tough decision to go out of the marriage. And it was very acrimonious. It was not wanted by the other party. And I was fearful that I would have to fight tooth and nail for my son, right? And anyway, he's with me 8 days and with his dad 6 days. But for the first year or two, I didn't say much. I never said anything negative, but I couldn't really eke out much positive things. And he didn't really want to know. He just knew that daddy and mommy loved each other, and they just have two houses because they don't get along, or whatever. I don't even remember. But when he started to become more cognizant and start to ask more questions is when I started to explain to him that his father's the best daddy. I had to let go of my own shit and love on my ex-husband so much so that he had the okay to love on his daddy so much, and that when he goes back and forth, he's equally happy that he's safe in both places. And the best part of that story is that because I could only come from love, right? That over the next couple years, he started to let me back in, my ex-husband. He started to talk to me more. He started to stop nitpicking about the agreements and things like this. And if you fast forward to now, he and I are best friends, and we go through the tough things together. He went through a really, I don't want to give up his anonymity, but we had to go through a procedure in Orlando. The family went there and rented a B&B, and we lived together for a couple of weeks in Orlando while he healed. And he saw us all in the same bed together, because even if I might be a little bit not uncomfortable, but it's not who I'm with anymore, right? But it's more important that the family's together. And he's done that, and he's forgiven, and I've forgiven. And I overheard, I'll leave it with this. The other day he was sitting and talking on the phone and to one of his friends, and the guy was confused that mom and dad were taking Boaz out somewhere, because I guess his parents are divorced and it's not pretty. And Boaz, oh God, my dad sleeps over here. They're besties. They just do everything together. They go out without me. And my heart exploded that it's okay that you can still love someone dearly. But I said, I love him so much. He's the best dad you're ever going to have in your life. But I'm a loner, and I just can't be in that house. But it's not because I don't love him. And so I think it's a fabulous question that we're all talking about. We can overcome, we can do hard things by saying, not what do I have to prove? I don't have to prove why I left or why I did this or why I did that. None of that's important. I'm in recovery, and he sees all kinds of things going on, and he thinks it's cool as crap that mom is always the one that's just there. No matter what everyone's doing and drinking and acting like, he's got his mom. And so for me, those two things are huge for him to be able to grow up and see.
I love that. I love that testimony, Rachel. Thank you so much for sharing it. Kind of brings me back to what Erica said earlier, where she was like, Sabrina, about normal. I so appreciate that, Rachel, because the dynamic that you have with your ex is something that is possible for some couples. And hearing that allows people to realize, like, hey, maybe if I do, similar things to what she did, maybe mine could look like that. Maybe not, but maybe it could. And hearing stuff like that allows us to realize that, our life can shift in different ways, in several different ways. And there is no normal. Everyone's situation is different, and it is possible.